In the 90s, when discussing martial arts stars, alongside Jackie Chan, Jet Li was another name everyone knew. Jet Li was adored for his attractive appearance, his masculine and strong presence, and his fluid, precise, and visually stunning martial arts techniques. To date, after over 30 years of acting, the King of Kung Fu has pocketed more than 60 classic martial arts films, where he was the lead. While admired for his acting roles, as a husband and father, Jet Li has disappointed his fans with how he treated his wives and children in his 2 marriages. Why is that? What drove this man to abandon his first wife and 2 young children for a new love? You are watching the story of Kung Fu King Jet Li, abandoning his wife and children for love with a beauty queen on the True Crime in the World channel. And as usual, if this story leaves an impression on you, don't hesitate to give us a like as encouragement. If this is the first time we've met, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to stay updated with the most classic cases. Jet Li was born on April the 26th, 1963, into an ordinary working-class family in Beijing. His father was a worker, and his mother was a bus ticket seller. When Jet Li was just 2, his father passed away due to a work accident in Shanghai. From then on, his mother, Mrs. Li, became the sole pillar and support for her 5 children to grow up. The sudden departure of his father caused Jet Li to develop an independent character from a young age. At 8, he was fortunate enough to catch the eye of a martial arts coach and was then sent to study at a sports school in Beijing. This marked the official beginning of his martial arts career, turning a new page in the life of young Jet Li. Throughout his 10 years of martial arts training, Jet Li was always at the top of every major and minor martial arts competition within China. At this point, he even frequently traveled to North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Southeast Asia, and more to perform Kung Fu. Beyond his outstanding talent and relentless effort, this brilliant success cannot be discussed without acknowledging the contributions of Huang Qiuyan, his senior at the martial arts school. 2 years older than Jet Li, Huang Qiuyan came from a much better family background than the boy who had lost his father. She was born into a family with an artistic tradition. Her father, Wang Bashi, was the director of the Beijing Military Arts Troupe. Her mother, Chen Xiangluan, was a dance teacher at the Beijing Opera and Dance Theatre. Despite the vastly different circumstances of their families, Huang Qiuyan always cared for and looked after her junior. After many years together at the martial arts school, their relationship grew deeper. At that time, Huang Qiuyan was very straightforward, clearly expressing her affection for the younger student. Meanwhile, young Jet Li was still naive in matters of the heart, only feeling that she was very kind to him. So, they became a couple. In 1980, with his superior martial arts skills and handsome appearance, Li was quickly chosen by directors for the film Shaolin Temple. By 1982, when the movie was released, it immediately created a significant impact. At that time, despite movie tickets being extremely cheap, Shaolin Temple reportedly earned up to 140 million RMB at the box office. The film was not only screened in Hong Kong, but also shattered box offices in many Asian countries, Australia, and several American nations. Shaolin Temple truly sparked a global craze. Jet Li never expected that success would come so swiftly upon entering the entertainment industry. Therefore, he decided to focus entirely on his film career. At this point, Jet Li had intentions of breaking up with Huang Qiuyan. However, after reconsideration, he realized that ending their relationship right after becoming famous would not only hurt her, but might also lead fans to think he was unfaithful. Jet Li quickly abandoned that thought and even introduced his girlfriend to the director, hoping she would become the female lead in the film The Little Shaolin Monk. However, once a man decides to break up, a woman's sixth sense will surely pick up on it, especially since Jet Li and Huang Qiuyan were childhood sweethearts, spending every day together for over 10 years. Huang Qiuyan always treated Jet Li with unwavering consistency. Once, when Jet Li broke his leg while filming, Qiuyan was the one who visited him daily in the hospital to take care of him. In 1986, Jet Li took on both the role of director and lead actor for the first time in the film Born to Defense. However, during the filming process, he contracted a mysterious illness. Despite consulting many doctors, there was no improvement until he was treated by a mysterious master named Zhao Zhongshui from Guizhou, after which his condition started to improve. Strangely, this master was not a renowned doctor and had no formal medical training. According to rumors at the time, there were many in China claiming to possess supernatural abilities, backed by even high-ranking officials. Zhao Zhongshui was one such person. More astonishing was that Zhao's bizarre treatment methods actually saved Jet Li's life. On the first day, Zhao rubbed Jet Li's back a few times, and the movie star immediately felt invigorated. On the second day, using the same method, Zhao Zhongshui made Jet Li vomit blood. After several such sessions, even Jet Li's chronic stomach pain was cured. Grateful for saving his life and in awe of Zhao Zhongshui's supernatural abilities, Jet Li took her as his foster mother. Thereafter, whenever he couldn't make a decision, he would run to her for advice. As time passed, Jet Li's status in the entertainment industry continued to rise. Many directors and film companies in Hong Kong were eager to collaborate with him. The actor would write down the names of these companies on paper and ask his foster mother to choose for him. Zhao Zhongshu circled the name Golden Harvest. Before this, Zhao Zhongshu had told Jet Li, "Before the age of 30, you will have billions in assets." And that's exactly what happened. After joining Golden Harvest, his acting career took off like a kite in the wind. At the peak of his career, Jet Li decided to marry Huang Qiuyan. According to rumors, this decision was also influenced by Zhao Zhongshui. His foster mother had advised Jet Li, "If you marry early, it will benefit your career. Huang Qiuyan has the luck of love. Surely it will be good for your health and development." In June 1987, Jet Li and Huang Qiuyan quietly registered their marriage without a wedding or visiting each other's parents, which was quite contrary to Chinese customs. Unexpectedly, Zhao Zhongshui was later sentenced to 2 years in prison for fraud and practicing superstition. After marriage, Huang Qiuyan followed her husband to Shenzhen, where they established an international martial arts development company. However, the business did not meet expectations, surviving only 1 year before going bankrupt. In 1988, both became martial arts researchers and emigrated to the United States. Their first daughter, Li Si, was born during this time. To be a good wife and mother, Huang Qiuyan turned down roles in films like The 13 Women of Nangyan and Journey to the West, dedicating her time to caring for her husband and child at home. Meanwhile, after his business venture failed, Jet Li focused on research, deciding to stay in the US to promote Chinese martial arts. But opportunities always come unexpectedly. In 1989, their second daughter, Li Dai, was born. Jet Li also received an offer from the film crew of The Master. Huang Qiuyan fully supported and encouraged her husband to seize this opportunity. She couldn't have known that this film would also mark the end of their brief marriage. A marriage not based on mutual love from both sides. How could it last happily? When Nina Li Qi appeared, Jet Li was ready to bear the infamy of abandoning his wife and children, decisively divorcing Huang Qiuyan to be with his new love. Nina Li Qi was born in 1961 in Jiangmen, Guangdong, and grew up in Shanghai. She studied economics as an international student at San Francisco University, USA. In 1986, Nina won the first runner-up title at the Miss Asia pageant held in Hong Kong, quickly stepping into the entertainment industry. Once an icon of seductive beauty, Nina was adored by many. She had been the mistress of casino tycoon Stanley Ho, and later, she became Jet Li's wife. Perhaps in Jet Li's eyes, Huang Qiuyan and Nina Li Qi were entirely different. One was from a martial arts background but willing to give up her career to wholeheartedly care for the family. The other was a beauty queen, returned from abroad, fluent in English, and knowledgeable in economics. Jet Li quickly felt a strong connection with Nina. Whether it was life reflections or interests, they understood each other very well. In one interview, the Kung Fu King once spoke about his second wife. "I can give up benefits or fame for Nina. I would do anything for her. I love Nina." After meeting Nina on the set of The Master, Jet Li immediately called the USA, asking for a divorce from his then-wife, Huang Qiuyan. "I'm sorry, I was wrong to marry you. I found my true love. On the other end of the line, Huang Qiuyan couldn't believe what she was hearing from her husband. It turned out her sacrifices and support had become the end of their 3-year marriage. She pleaded for him not to rush into the decision, to wait until their daughters were a bit older. However, neither Li Si nor Li Dai could change Jet Li's decision. He was extremely decisive in wanting to immediately be with the beautiful woman, saying divorce was inevitable. In 1991, the marriage between Jet Li and Huang Qiuyan officially ended. This news quickly covered all newspapers and magazines at the time. Jet Li had abandoned his wife and children, leaving his ex-wife and 2 daughters to deal with the debts they had taken on to buy property in the US. As a full-time housewife, Huang Qiuyan had no means to pay off the debts. Quickly, their assets were seized by the bank. For days, she and the children wandered the streets. Fortunately, a kind-hearted woman took them in, letting them stay in a windowless basement with no sunlight. Her ex-husband's abandonment felt like a cruel jest. Huang Qiuyan had to work hard to make money, leaving her little time to care for her children. In desperation, she sent her daughters to live with Jet Li's mother in Beijing and then studied at the Hong Kong Academy for Performing Arts. Some time later, Qiuyan also found work in the US. Her modest salary allowed her to support herself independently, without relying on anyone. After a failed marriage, Huang Qiuyan became very cautious with matters of the heart. She didn't accept a new relationship until she met Mr. Wang, the owner of a restaurant in San Francisco. With his passionate pursuit, Huang Qiuyan finally opened her heart to accept his kindness and sincerity. She believed in marriage once more. Leaving his ex-wife and 2 daughters behind, Jet Li became a single man again. Do you believe in love promises? Jet Li and Nina Li Qi had made a romantic 10-year promise. Nina said, "If in 10 years you still love me like this, let's be together." And indeed, Jet Li's love for Nina grew deeper over those 10 years. Throughout that time, he truly devoted his entire heart to Nina. In 1992, Nina Li Qi's investments failed, leaving her with debts amounting to tens of millions of RMB. Jet Li signed a contract to essentially sell himself to a company, agreeing to complete 6 films in 3 years, for which he received 72 million RMB, and he handed over the entire sum to Nina to pay off her debts. In 1996, Jet Li starred in the film Dr. Y, in the scripture with no words, sharing many romantic scenes with actress Angie Chu. Numerous dating rumors emerged. Jealous, Nina threatened to break up with Jet Li. The actor then chased after her all the way to the airport to express his feelings, ultimately changing her mind. After this incident, Jet Li rarely had rumors linked to the films he was involved in. 1999 was the final year of their 10-year agreement. Jet Li and Nina Li Qi held their wedding in Los Angeles, USA. Jet Li even invited his biological daughter, Li Si, and his 2 sisters to attend. But of course, Li Si refused, as no one wants to attend their father's wedding to another woman. At this time, both love and career were as Jet Li wished. After marriage, they had 2 daughters. And as promised, Jet Li handed over all his earnings to his wife for management. They started businesses, invested, and made a lot of money. Currently, Jet Li's new family life is very happy. But what about Li Si and Li Dai, the 2 unfortunate children left by both parents? Growing up, Li Si gradually understood the story of her parents and came to deeply resent Jet Li. She once said, "I'd rather not have a father like that." In 2000, the 2nd year after his 2nd marriage, Jet Li's mother passed away from illness. He rushed back to Beijing. Upon arriving home, he was met with the sight of his daughters, Li Si and Li Dai, kneeling on the ground, crying heart-wrenchingly. Moved by pity, Jet Li proposed bringing them to Hong Kong. Nina also promised to take care of his children from his previous marriage. However, in Li Si's eyes, there was nothing but hatred for her father and the woman who had destroyed their family. She pulled her sister behind her, telling them to leave, that she would never go with them. Jet Li truly had no other choice. When Jet Li and Nina's daughters were born, Li Si's resentment deepened. While she and her sister attended boarding school, never receiving warm love from their father, Nina's daughters received daily care and protection. And in Jet Li's eyes, perhaps only his daughters from his 2nd marriage existed. At that time, Jet Li had both money and time. he frequently took his new family to various events and didn't miss any significant milestones in his young daughter's growth. These children also received the luxuries that every child dreams of. At 7, one of his daughters became a dance partner for Andy Lau at performances, basking in the bright lights of the stage and receiving admiration from everyone. In contrast, for Hwang Kyu-yan's daughters, after the divorce, Jet Li would only call to check on them once or twice a month. But after his remarriage, even these calls became less frequent. The coldness from their father made Lee Si become quiet and uncommunicative. Even her younger sister, Dai Mei, noticed a significant change in her character. She was very worried. Lee Si had one rule: never mention Jet Li in front of her. Whenever Dai Mei brought up their father, Lee Si would immediately fall silent or leave the conversation. Later, she forbade her sister from contacting their father privately. When Lee Si entered high school, her mother, Hwang Kyu-yan, remarried. By then, her financial situation was sufficient to support her daughters. Through a conversation with her ex-husband, Hwang Kyu-yan learned how much her daughters resented their father. She agreed to try to reconcile them, on the condition that Lee Si and Lee Dai would live with her. Regarding her mother's remarriage, Lee Si didn't hate it. On the contrary, she was grateful to her stepfather for caring for her mother. Finally, the sisters felt the warmth of a family. With her mother's patient persuasion, Lee Si gradually stopped her fierce opposition to her father. On significant occasions, she would send her well wishes to Jet Li. However, even if they were no longer estranged, they couldn't become close. Later, the media revealed that one of Jet Li and Nina's younger daughters suffered from depression. Lee Si then posted on social media, both mocking and bitterly saying, "They shine in the love of thousands. What's there to be sad about? We grew up like weeds, yet we are stronger." Now, Lee Si is 36 years old, but remains single. It's unclear how long it will take for her to escape the shadow cast by her parents' broken marriage. Meanwhile, Jet Li is over 60. Recently, his health has been deteriorating. Images of his white hair and wrinkled, aging face have fans very worried about the actor's health. Clearly, in terms of career, Jet Li has excelled, but as a father, he has many shortcomings, because every small act of affection he shows to his younger daughters becomes an invisible knife stabbing into the hearts of his older daughters, causing them pain. Emotions are always hard to control. We cannot deny the love between Jet Li and Nina, but we also cannot deny the pain that Hwang Kyu-yan, Lee Si, and Lee Dai had to endure from Jet Li's selfish happiness. When choosing to enter marriage or any relationship, we must have responsibility. While we should respect the right to leave, it's hard to forgive someone who has caused others to suffer for a long time. For parents, every decision directly affects their children's upbringing. A lonely, painful childhood can have severe consequences in adulthood. Some children spend their whole life healing from childhood, while others spend their adulthood trying to erase childhood pain. Even if they can't move forward together, parents should hope to give their children a beautiful childhood. What do you think about today's video? Leave your thoughts in the comments below for discussion. And before you go, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for our next videos.